Once in a while, I'm called upon in my normal day-to-day life to defend the atheist position, and you would think that would be my superhero moment, right? Like if the dude who took karate classes for years actually got attacked by a ninja for a change. People around me even assume that sometimes, right? Somebody who doesn't know what I do for a living will go, here's my problem with atheist. And somebody who does know what I do goes, oh boy, they're in for it now. Because yes, I know way more about Christian apologetics than the average Christian, right? I know the Bible better than most of them. I know their theology better. I know their terminology better. I know the church's history better. I've listened to hundreds of hours of formal religious debates. I've spent a dozen years immersed in this shit full time. I know the most popular counter apologetics, and I've got snappy comebacks to every one of them at the ready. But, for all the fancy counter apologetics I know, the one that I use most often, in fact, the one I pretty much use exclusively in these actual in the wild encounters is no. Right? Because nobody ever comes at you with the Kalam cosmological argument or even the first mover argument. If you're lucky, you might get Pascal's wager, but what you generally get, in my experience, is just unhinged nonsense. It'd be something like, well, didn't they find Noah's Ark back in the 90s? Or isn't there a nun from the 1800s whose amputated leg grew back? Or wasn't there a Chinese doctor who took pictures of people's souls leaving their bodies when they died? You get shit like that. One of my favorite examples was the first and last time I went to an Ask an Atheist event at a college. I was invited by a professor who listened to the show, and I showed up and immediately realized that a far less scathing atheist was required for events like that. Anyway, during the event, and I've talked about this on the show before, so apologies to longtime listeners, but during that event, one of Jesus's intellectual warriors was asked why God never cured amputees. Probably by me, I can't remember for sure. But in rebuttal, he claimed that he'd actually seen an amputee regrow their limb through the power of prayer. And the correct answer when you're offered that kind of bullshit is just no. Right? No, I'm not wasting my time with your nonsense. You haven't bothered to do enough homework to be wrong correctly. You don't deserve my black belt counter apologetics. You deserve some fucking internet troll copying and pasting shit they've never read into your comments. I'll reserve my vitriol for high class asshats like Ross Douthat. But that's the dirty little secret at the heart of apologetics, isn't it, right? They've constructed their intricate lies and justifications in hopes that they can lose you somewhere in a knot of illogic, but it's not why they believe. It's not why their co-religionists believe. And so what the hell is the point of arguing with it, right? They've already shown that refuting their arguments doesn't change their minds. Hell, it doesn't even stop them from using that argument. Apologetics are, generally speaking, an effort to keep intelligent people busy. They're a delaying tactic, like when somebody suggests that you form a committee to look into the question. As long as they pretend there's some unrefuted apologetics still out there, they can try to slow down the intellectual progress that begins with the words, so now that this religion thing has been disproved. At the same time, they're roping us in hopes of leeching a bit of our intellectual credibility. Well, I'm not my intellectual credibility, but like the smart people's, like who know things. They repackage one of the 7 arguments that they've been using for the last 600 fucking years, just enough to require our side to tweak the refutation a bit. And then they say, see, look at all of us engaged in an intellectual debate like a bunch of intellectuals. But the real reason people believe in religion is stuff like, I don't want to make my grandma sad. I'm scared of dying. And people are less mean to me when I believe as they believe. Those motivations need no counter-apologetic, do they? Just saying them out loud as a refutation of their validity as a way of arriving at your worldview. So at the same time that apologetics are giving atheists a frisbee to chase, they're also serving as a hard layer between religious people and the flimsy bullshit reasons they actually stick with the family faith. Now, none of that is to fault the atheists who go out there and debate apologists. I think it's great that they do that, and I'm glad that we've got a couple of well-informed ones out there representing us so that the idiots and trolls can't have that banner to themselves. And as unconvincing as I find these ideas, that doesn't mean that they won't trick anybody, so it is important that somebody's out there, soundly refuting them. Hell, I'm going to be fucking refuting that Ross Douthat book again before the episode's over. So what I'm saying isn't that nobody needs to debate religious people. I'm just saying that you don't. You can if you want to. A lot of people enjoy the shit out of it, I guess, but you aren't required to. It's perfectly all right to shrug off any challenge to your beliefs with no. And 9 times out of 10, that's going to be the right answer anyway.